And what he found when he got there was, what Bales was documenting was just so heavily ingrained in the culture. I think he got to Thailand and wasn't really sure where to begin.
Right.
I don't think he ever did create any kind of initiative in that regard. I think he instead went to Thailand and just tried to understand why things were the way they were in that culture, and in the back of his mind trying to think what it would take to change it, and realize that, well, sometimes one person can make a difference, but he was going to need more financial backing than a university student traveling abroad could do. But yes, in his case, he went abroad and he did an independent study project that I supervised. He wrote up a paper about his experiences and what he observed there. And I think actually the effect that it had on him to go there was he went from being just sort of aghast and horrified that there was this problem involving sexual slavery in Thailand as a student reading the book and discussing in the classroom, to going over there and looking at it and going out. I think he went out into the countryside and he got to know some of the families just living there, and he began to see why some families end up going in that direction. I don't think he approved of it, and I think he was still very uncomfortable about the whole thing.
Right.
But he began to understand it from their point of view, and he realized what could be done and maybe what would be harder to accomplish, at least in the near term, and came just reckoned himself with some of the complexity of that. So I don't really know if that, for him, I think then he went off and had a business career back home, and that was just a broadening experience that he took with them. So sometimes students do have that. I didn't actually encourage him to go to Thailand either. I didn't necessarily want him spending all that money and putting all that time into it, but he really wanted it, and the course is what made him pursue that. So
the course was the course itself and the specific book
that theme in the course, that week that we did slavery,
and the effect was him going there.
Yes, for about a month actually. Yeah, during the summer break, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
And let me ask you a more specific question regarding some of the elements that you find crucial in your teachings, in terms of what areas you believe are most important to be covered when you're addressing your courses.
Again, I'm coming from the discipline of political science, so my answers might be different from somebody in educational studies.
Sure.
But how we think about political community and the nature of political community, that's an old question. That goes back to the ancient polis in a sense.
Yeah.
But of course, as our political world changes, with the rest of the world becoming more interconnected again, I still do think, even if globalization is retrenching in some ways, or if the European integration project may be going in reverse now, disintegrating, we still have all kinds of new sources of transnational connections every day. So it's still with us. The trend line just sort of goes up, and the sine wave up and down, up and down. Trend reversals, I guess, in an overall positive trajectory. So how we think about the meaning of political community, how we think about effective governance, not just at the local level, but at the supranational level. How we think when we look at issues, how we think about the idea of responsibility. How a lot of things I say in my class about how we allocate responsibilities, which kinds of governments, which sorts of international institutions and businesses, and which subsets of citizens should solve which problems. So trying to sort that in a sense in the class.